action. Welcome to Petrol Poodle and welcome to my review of my MX-5. So, what the hell do you want to know? You already know what MX-5s are. You've got to be a moron to have not come across one of these because they are the world's best-selling two-seater. They sell every 15 minutes. You will have seen plenty of these. However, I think what makes them worth talking about is for a lot of people who have never driven anything fun in their lives and they think cars are just for getting to A to B, like thinking that eating is just having an unbuttered cheese sandwich for the rest of your life, they discover that actually there's a whole world of flavour out there and there's so much more to be enjoyed. This is often that gateway car for them. At the other end of the scale, you've got people who have spent £90,000 on a Porsche 911, they've spent £70,000 on a Boxster GTS. And I'm naming these cars by reference of what Mazda MX-5 owners on the owners group have actually said, yeah, this used to be my car. And honestly, I have as much fun, sometimes more fun, in exactly one of these than my £90,000 car. So it has broad appeal. Most of you are probably remembering some old-fashioned kind of hairdressery stereotypes and just think these things are for cruising around with a fresh blow dry. I like the fact that it's quite an honest brand, and when you drive around with the roof down at this, you don't get bad looks. I've had a BMW 330 Ci in the past, convertible. It certainly was the what a wanker, and they were right, but I got a lot of those looks and people didn't let me out at junctions and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of running costs and all that stuff. It'll get a little bit heavy, but that's for the nerds like me. That's another video again to come. Wow, this video might be cut short for some of you. Let's talk about if you fit in this damn thing at all. So, okay, it is intentionally small. The whole ethos behind the MX-5 is lightweight, simple, back to basics, rear-wheel drive motoring. If you're someone that enjoys pies, enjoys sitting still for long periods, and you're very, very tall, you do you, hun. I support everybody for what they want to do. This might not be the car for you. What do you get? Well, this is the Sport Tech trim. Make sure you go for that. There's hardly any difference in cost and you get a lot more kit. Heated seats, you could cook an egg on these bad boys. Bose sound system, okay, it doesn't actually live up to its reputation of being Bose. If you swap out the standard head unit, actually you get pretty good sound. Storage, cup holders, compartment here, glove box. Mark IV, you've lost nearly all of that. I suppose it's one of the benefits of designing something ultra simple, that although it's not going to set your world on fire, it wasn't very daring, it hasn't aged badly either. Can you actually live with this thing and take it anywhere? No. Yes, you actually can. For a week's shop for two people, easily fits in this boot. So it's actually not so bad. Anyway, so onto the drive. The MX-5 is in a league of one. It doesn't really have any competition whatsoever. I find it really refreshing. I find it a complete antidote to power figures and 0 to 60s and spec sheets being what really matters most. It's the driving experience. It's the way it makes you feel when you're actually driving it. What are those qualities that make a drive feel fun regardless of what else is going on? Well, for me, it's the tactile parts of the MX-5. This gearbox is stunning. When you've driven an old French car where you're searching around for gears like a teenager looking for a clitoris, it is absolutely glorious. It's a short throw, it's ultra precise. It just makes you feel like you're really attached to the process. You haven't got overly lightweight electric steering. Rather, you've got really, really, really tactile hydraulic steering here. And the 3 pedals, they've got really decent pressure to each. They haven't got a sponginess. Everything's judged brilliantly. And the second that you sit in and you're cocooned in this tight interior space with your legs sat out horizontally and you're sat nice and low, it feels like a sense of occasion. As soon as you're in this car, it does feel like it's your little treat to yourself. That's what this car's about, and I think it feels special as soon as you get moving. Let's keep the engine till last, because again, it's not the shining thing of what the MX-5's about. Weight. This car is really light. It's not Lotus Elise light, fine, but compared to nearly everything else out there on the road today, it is hundreds of kilos lighter from the word go. I'm pitching to you to look at the Mk3.5, and that is basically the update in 2009, the facelift, and they revised a million things, which I'll provide a link in the bio to all the changes, because let's just keep this shorter. The amount of effort that they put into giving this a 50-50 weight balance is ridiculous. Is this to please the stereotypes of who this car is supposed to be for? No, it's not for that at all. It's because, much to most people's surprise, alongside Caterhams, they're the most raced car in the world. So these things from the box are pretty much ready to go on any old track day that you go on, and are a ludicrous amount of fun and are hugely capable. But the most interesting thing for me is I've been a petrol head that's really enjoyed an exhilarating, adrenaline pumping drive. But in actual fact, I spend a lot of my drives just cruising and chilling, and with the roof off in almost any weather with the heated seats on, it's just an absolute delight. And I don't find myself accelerating at every nice looking bend that comes up. I don't find myself playing on the edge of what the car can do. When I do that occasionally, it's also awesome fun, but there is just something about this where it resets the parameters of what you have to be doing to actually have a lot of fun. And the recipe to a lot of people of low power, low weight might not sound like much, but we're looking at the world's best-selling two-seater here, so it's obviously worked for a reason. Okay, let's talk about this engine then. So, fine, 160 horsepower. It's not going to blow you away. It's not a drag racer, is it? But about 7.6 to 60 I've seen stated, and other places state 7.9, which is probably what it is with the hard top. I honestly think there's something very rewarding about a car of this power and this weight, because it's not a given that no matter how crap you are as a driver and what gear you choose and where you chose to put your foot down and start getting the power on again in a corner, you don't just come slingshotting out of every bend like a hero, which is what you get in a lot of heavily turbocharged engines. You can be a bit of a moron, to be honest. Not really with this, and it means that, yeah, when you get it wrong, you come out of a bend really slowly. When you get it right, you feel like you're a good driver. You feel like your decisions and your skill and input actually made a difference to it. Do I have owner's bias towards this car? Well, of course I do. So I've now got to take myself back out there and actively have a little think about this. Is it the perfect power to weight? Well, I don't think quite. I understand where the slow comments come from, and for me, for this car to be perfect, I want it to be more like 7 seconds to 60, maybe 6.5. I think that's where you get into a car and there's no denying from anybody, oh, this is a quick car. And there's plenty of options for that. There's BBR, Blink Motorsport, Scuzzle, all the rest. There's loads of options, and I encourage you to look into those. We're nearly done. So thank you for coming this far. Hold tight. So first criticism, well, character. It's a very subjective word. It's going to really depend on how this car makes you feel compared to what you've come out of before. So friends of mine who aren't into their cars, they absolutely adore this, and they're in love with it already, which is awesome. If you're a little bit more of a purist, hardcore petrol head, I think you're going to want to change the exhaust. There's no drama, there's no sense of occasion. So you're going to want to factor about 400 quid plus fitting for a back box if you want a little bit more throaty growl, a bit more noise when you turn it on. From factory, these ride quite high, really. In this wheel arch here, you've got a lot more room to drop this car. Do not rush and buy the cheapest one of these that you can find. Rust is the only real enemy of the MX-5. I'm going to do a buyer's guide video with greater detail of all the things you should actually do if you're considering buying one of these, and you're going to walk around, do the checks. That's coming later. But rust is the #1 thing. Final point, yes, car safety is as boring for me to talk about it as it is for you guys to listen to. So, yeah, do you know, I don't ever think I'm gonna roll this car, but if I'm in the event of it actually happening, well, thankfully these rollover hoops should survive just fine. because my head will smash and absorb the impact of the crash. But I'm gonna spend 500 quid on getting a proper like race roll bar here, which is considerably higher, and that's gonna go over, and the hardtop should still work with that, which is handy. So yeah, that's something else to think about if you are like me and you value not dying. From the factory, these are nearly perfect. They really do, they make so many people utterly joyous. And that's it. Believe it or not, those are my shorthand thoughts on the car. And thank you if you've managed to stay this far. What do you think? What are your thoughts on an MX-5? Have they changed over the years? Have your perceptions changed? Have you always thought they're crap? Have you always liked them? Be mean in the comments, fight each other. That's what YouTube is for, I believe. If you like it, please give it a like, it'd mean the world. If you don't like it, that's fine. Take care, subscribe. There may be some good videos to come. Cheers.